Now I'm going to talk about the habit cycle. So that's a berry. Imagine that you are a primitive human. It's August, summer. The ground is dry, vegetation's sort of dried out. Slim pickings. You're not eating very well. And you're walking along and you come across a berry. Whew, looks good. You try it, you nibble on it, tastes good, it's sweet. It's pleasurable. It's much more enjoyable than the bark and the herbs and forbs that you've been eating. And you enjoy it, so you find some more berries, you eat those. And that sweetness is pleasurable. But it goes farther than that. Your brain recognizes that sweetness as being relevant to survival. Sweetness indicates concentrated calories. And if your diet's not very good, a dose of sweetness, of concentrated calories, is going to be high energy. That's going to be good for you. So your brain recognizes that, and it rewards you for having done this good thing for your survival by giving you a shot of dopamine, which does two things. It slightly increases the pleasure. It makes that sweetness even more delightful. But more than that, dopamine is kind of a learning drug, and it helps you learn how to get more berries in the future. It does that by causing you to pay attention in a very subconscious, automatic way. It causes you to kind of wake up and look around, see what's going on around where you found these delightful berries. And so maybe your brain notices the shape and the color of the leaves of the bush that the berry was on. And maybe it notices that this berry bush was growing underneath a certain kind of a tree. So it kind of stores that information for later. So at some point in the future, you're walking along and your brain happens to see a similar tree, and it sees, this bush with this same kind of leaf on it, and it actually notices that pattern of conditions, of environmental conditions, and remembers, again very subconsciously, that last time it encountered that there were some berries around. And so what it wants you to do is to start looking for berries. Let's don't miss this golden opportunity to get some more of that sweet, calorie-dense food, which is going to help us survive. And it gives you another shot of dopamine. But at this point, dopamine is serving a very different function. There's no pleasure actually to be accentuated yet. It's actually kicking you into action. It's increasing your motivation to get the reward. It actually is energizing. It kicks up your physiology a little bit, kicks up your awareness, and it actually is saying it's making you want berries. And so out of the blue, kind of, all of a sudden, you want berries without even having recognized the sycamore tree in the particular bush. And so you happen to find some berries. You eat them. You get that reward again. It's sweet. It's delightful. The brain gives you a shot of dopamine to accentuate the pleasure, and it further confirms and reinforces that, sycamore trees in that certain bush, berries might be around. So keep that little story in mind as now I talk about habits in technical terms. Habit has 4 elements: cue, urge, action, and reward. So in that example, the reward was the sweetness of the berry. The action was to find and eat the berry. The cue were the leaves of that particular bush being under that particular kind of a tree. And the urge is this effect that you get from that shot of dopamine, which says, Hey, buddy, there might be some berries around here. Look around. So habits are wonderful things. They help us get more berries. They help us survive. And the fact that they happen on automatic without our awareness is really handy. So we can be walking along through the savannah and sort of subconsciously learning about where berries are when we find them, and looking for berries when we get this urge, while still looking around for other danger, carrying on a conversation in Neanderthal with our partner, whatever. The fact that it happens on automatic is a wonderful thing. So the fact that we have habits, and the fact that as a drinker you have a drinking habit, and I don't mean addiction, I mean this habit cycle, is a great thing. It's just that in the case of drinking, it's not serving us. The takeaway from this, or what I really want you to understand, is that it's a real physiological thing. It's not that anything's going wrong. If you have a drinking habit, you're not a defective person with a bad gene. You have a brain that's working correctly. And secondly, the urge is a real thing. It's a physiological thing. It's inspired by the dopamine that makes you want to get the thing, to want to drink. So we'll talk at different times about how to deal with that want, to deal with that urge. But the goal here is to understand that this is going on with your body. It's not the only reason that you drink too much, but it is one of them. And you need to have it in the back of your mind so you can understand why we do certain things in the program to make this less powerful.